I grew up in the house, in this home, so you wouldn't think to see it like this. You would never think it would hit home like that.
Now, the National Weather Service says the region can expect even more dangerous weather, and we could see storms here this evening after 10 p.m. But ahead of the storms, the weather will be muggy and hot. Afternoon highs near 90, but a cool down's on the way. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast that comes your way at 12:05. A new summer safety initiative is kicking off in Gwinnett County today. Gwinnett County Police Corporal Ryan Winderweedle says they're ramping up patrols throughout the summer and also connecting with county residents.
We'll meet with certain neighborhoods to get feedback from the community and walk the neighborhoods and, get the community involved in, being a part of crime prevention.
He says crime rates usually jump in the summer months. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms making it official. She's running for governor in 2026.
The former one-term mayor says she's battle-tested and explains to WSB why she decided to run for the state's top job.
November was a turning point for me personally, and I really found myself thinking about what I could do and what I was called to do in this moment.
Bottoms says Georgians are facing a tough economy under the new administration, and she wants to tackle issues like Medicaid. She says her decision was not based on who may or may not enter the governor's race. So far, only Democrat Jason Estevez and Republican Chris Carr have officially announced their campaigns. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
Now to Washington, President Trump calling for Republican lawmakers to pass his so-called Big Beautiful Bill. After attending a House Republican conference meeting on Capitol Hill, the president said progress is being made.
Yeah, that was a meeting of love. Let me tell you, that was love in that room. There was no shouting. I think it was a meeting of love.
Trump added that there were a few concerns that he helped clear up and thinks that the legislation will move forward. The bill cleared the GOP-led Budget Committee and the House Sunday. A day after we reported the fourth case of measles here in Georgia, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. giving Capitol Hill lawmakers an update on the outbreak that started in Texas and spread to a handful of other states.
The best way to prevent the spread of measles is through vaccination.
He said in a Senate hearing that the current outbreak is now sitting at 1,035 cases, but he says it is slowing. Just over 24 cases added last week. U.S. regulators say the annual COVID-19 shots for healthy younger adults and children will no longer be routinely approved. The FDA saying that it will limit access to COVID-19 vaccines going forward to people 65 years old and older. And one metro area community, the best place to live in America, according to U.S. News and World Report.
A variety of factors were considered, like quality of life, crime rate, job opportunities, schools, and more. In the end, Johns Creek comes out on top of a list of 250 U.S. cities.
They're just a very law-abiding, hardworking, highly educated group of people. We're one of the most diverse cities in Georgia. That's just a recipe for success.
Mayor John Bradbury says a new city center with a host of amenities will only add to the community's desirability. Johns Creek incorporated in 2006. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Now, your money and the economy, depending upon who you ask, the odds that the U.S. economy will slip into recession this year stand between 30 and 50%. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's down 108 at 42,684. NASDAQ also down here at noon, and so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Travel advisory through Woodstock into Kennesaw. Got a crash 575 southbound just below Highway 92, exit 7. It's in the right lane. That means only a left lane open. Already stacked up back to Town Lake Parkway. Think about Highway 5, Bells Ferry, a couple of alternates there. Also a travel advisory with the work zone on the south side in Fairburn. Double left lane construction. That means 2 left lanes are blocked in both directions. 85 north and southbound at Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. You can use Highway 29 to avoid those delays between Union City and Fairburn. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Time now for your 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 89. Watching for thunderstorms to roll through after 10 p.m. tonight, continuing through early tomorrow morning, moving out of the metro region after 5 a.m. Some of the storms overnight may produce damaging wind gusts as well as large hail, then drying out for Wednesday afternoon, cooling down with a high of 82. Thursday, mostly sunny, morning low 63, afternoon high near 80. Friday and Saturday, morning lows in the mid-50s, daytime highs in the mid to upper 70s.
We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Here we go, friends. It's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is eggs. EGGS, eggs. Enter the keyword eggs into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You got until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword is eggs, EGGS, eggs. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, pick it up. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. Good luck.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. We're up to 70 stations now. Thank you for listening. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. Don't forget, if you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, you can go to text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. You get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, so much more. Would be very excellent to have you with me if you wish to be on the program. Now, we've got to begin with a bit of a difficult, shall we say, story that some of you will not want to believe, but I've got to remind you of an important situation, an important story. Years ago, Beau Biden, President Joe Biden's son, the then Attorney General for Delaware. He was the Attorney General for Delaware. He had cancer. He not only had cancer, he had a malignant glioblastoma brain cancer. And it was abundantly apparent that he was not going to live. In fact, he had surgery to remove as much of the tumor as they could, and then went on, canceled his television appearances, reduced his visibility, stopped doing a lot of interviews, clearly had a new haircut when he was revealed, and they insisted that he had a clean bill of health. In fact, the Biden family had a doctor release a statement to the media that Beau Biden had a clean bill of health, even though they knew he was dying. I'm not making this up. This is true. This is a real story. This happened. Beau Biden had brain cancer. They knew he wasn't going to survive, and the Biden family lied about it. They lied fairly regularly about it. And now comes Joe Biden, and we're supposed to believe, given the pattern of this family lying about things like this, and the extended cover-up of Joe Biden, we're somehow supposed to believe that this was all surprise. They didn't bother testing. In fact, I want to play you this conversation. This is from CBS This Morning. They have on their medical expert who also had been an advisor, a medical advisor to Joe Biden, carrying the water, and just listen to how they lack curiosity about the situation.
Thought it took a while to do that. Wouldn't he be getting regular checkups?
Yeah, so it depends on the kind of cancer you're talking about here. We do know it's quite aggressive again. So the time in which it would take to spread to the bones is going to be shorter than with a less aggressive cancer. And he's 82. Normally, doctors will stop screening for prostate cancer at 75 or so, because after that, the prostate cancers you typically pick up are very slow growing. And so the harms of all of the testing and treatment for something that may not kill you, you're talking about risk versus benefit. It may not be worth the risk.
Isn't there a blood test that men can take to know if they have an issue that might warrant further examination?
So there's something that we call a PSA test, but that can also be indicative of many different things. It could just be you have an enlarged prostate. Maybe you have a low-grade infection in the prostate. There are many things that can cause that, and so this is, again, why after a certain age, doctors will typically stop screening for prostate cancer.
Wow.
But in his case, it's not screening. It's important to emphasize this was diagnostic because he had urinary symptoms, and so there was a reason to do more testing.
Quickly, what is your final message to men of a certain age?
Well, men of a certain age, you need to be seeing your primary care doctor for regular exams, and it's not just for prostate cancer.
Now, thank you to Newsbusters, by the way, for capturing that clip. But wait a second. This is no ordinary man. This was the President of the United States of America and his former advisor, now medical correspondent and analyst for CBS, with no pushback from the CBS morning panel, which, by the way, has been very sympathetic to Joe Biden, very hostile to the Republicans. We're just supposed to accept at face value that they didn't even bother with PSA screenings for the president. They did for Donald Trump, despite his age. They did for Barack Obama, despite his age. They did for George W. Bush. I mean, when Donald Trump was president of the United States, they were testing his PSA. And this goes. Let me just roll back here to the particular question and answer here on PSA.
So there's something that we call a PSA test, but that can also be indicative of many different things. It could have an enlarged prostate. Maybe you have a low-grade infection in the prostate. There are many things that can cause that, and so this is, again, why after a certain age, doctors will typically stop screening for prostate cancer.
Wow.
But in his case, it's not screening. It's important to emphasize this was diagnostic.
And that's the key. So they weren't even screening as President of the United States. Why is that? Again, I think it's very important for us to say we should be in prayer for Joe Biden, but we should not give Joe Biden the benefit of the doubt, nor should we give those around him the benefit of the doubt, including doctors who are sympathetic to him. The media has a pattern of covering for Joe Biden. In February of 2024, Matt Visor, who is the Washington Post White House bureau chief, wrote a piece about the Robert Hur testimony, and it was clearly an insider account with direct access to Biden's team to give people a sense of the Biden team's thinking and how shocked they were at Robert Hur's conclusions. And when the actual transcript, not the audio, came out, Matt Visor tweeted in March of 2024, quote, "Biden doesn't come across as absent-minded as Hur has made him out to be." Well, now we have the actual audio, and it comes out as even worse than what Robert Hur said. He was being charitable, and yet Matt Visor carried water for the Biden administration. And now J.D. Vance has come out and questioned who is actually in control in the White House, that Joe Biden doesn't seem to have been fit at all to be president. And you know what Matt Visor has done? Essentially labeled anyone who questions Joe Biden's account of his prostate cancer diagnosis as a conspiracy theorist, and that includes Zeke Emanuel, who is a medical oncology expert, world-renowned oncology expert, no less, who went on MSNBC and said he's had this for a while. You just don't get prostate cancer that can spread to the bone in a matter of months. You just don't do it. It's not possible. And guess what? They found one oncologist, one, at Mass General Brigham, Jason F. Stathue, to say it's certainly possible for more aggressive advanced cancer to develop in a setting with low PSA or develop and spread rather quickly on the order of less than a year. They weren't even looking at Joe Biden's PSA. How do we know what his PSA levels were? They weren't checking. They conveniently leave that out of the story. It's kind of a three-card Monty shuffling the cards around, find the truth in it. They're covering for him. They're covering for him. And again, all the other presidents had their PSA checked. In February of 2023, Politico's Jonathan Martin ran a piece of Democratic insiders lamenting Joe Biden's mental and physical frailty, but also attacking Kamala Harris, the Democrats were, for her failure to rise to the occasion. Almost a year to the day that Jonathan Martin penned that piece, he penned a piece with the headline, "Get used to it, Biden isn't going anywhere," insisting Republicans were conspiracy theorists for thinking Joe Biden would drop out of the race. By the way, once he did and Kamala Harris got in the race, Jonathan Martin began penning a series of fan fiction columns in Politico about how if she just showed that she was capable of bipartisan governance, she could win. And when she didn't do that, and instead continued to attack Donald Trump, he penned pieces blasting her for not taking his advice. And then when the Democrats ultimately lost, he penned a piece, I kid you not, this is the headline of Jonathan Martin's piece. Democrats wonder, are we too correct? And he penned this remarkable sentence. Democrats had, quote, wanted to redouble their commitment to those under duress at a time of threat. Now, J.D. Vance on Air Force Two, flying back to the United States, questions whether Joe Biden was ever fit to be president of the United States. And Jonathan Martin decries it as being too online. This is most interesting as a real-time depiction of somebody struggling between the responsibilities of high office and the temptations that come with being totally online. Apparently, 70% of Americans are too online, including the people who are offline, because this is a concern that most Americans have. And Jonathan Martin, who fluffed up the Biden administration for 4 years, Matt Visor, who fluffed up the Biden administration for 4 years, CBS News that did the same. Apparently, they were so used to having Joe Biden in their mouth, they decided that now they've got him back in there, they'll just do some navel gazing of Biden and not question anything. They'll call out the conspiracy theorists on the right. You know, these remarkable conspiracy theories on the right, they keep coming true. The Tapper Thompson book comes out on Monday. If I have a criticism of the book, I don't think it actually does cover the press's complicity. Now, I understand why, given who's writing the book, they're not going to go after their own, but it is remarkable how quickly the press has sprung into the role of defending Joe Biden and calling anyone who doubts his cancer diagnosis conspiracy theory. These people's trust is in the gutter, and they don't care. They do not care. They are in a bubble with the Democrats. They had an opportunity to redeem themselves and finally tell the truth, and they can't bring themselves to tell the truth because they would rather fluff up Joe Biden's family narrative. Here's the truth. It is the God's honest truth. It is documented. When Beau Biden had brain cancer and was going to die, Joe Biden and his family assured the public that Beau Biden had a clean bill of health, which is basically the exact same language being used by the Biden family in the White House with their doctor. The fact that they did this to Beau Biden fits a pattern of deception to the American public, and the fact that the media would rather ignore it highlights one of the problems with the media. When Democrats say anything, they're treated by the press as honest. When Republicans say anything, no matter how truthful, they're treated as dishonest. It is another sign of media bias in this. It is why so many people don't believe the press, and it is why the press is incapable of redemption and needs to be burned to the ground with salt poured over the charred remains so they can never spring back. These people want to go bankrupt, and they've already been bankrupt in the truth. The fact that Politico, Washington Post, CBS This Morning, and others are carrying water for the Biden family, treating as a conspiracy theory what is truthful, that he had prostate cancer while as president. That's why we have no PSA tests, is an abomination. It's an attack on the truth. It's something, if the Republicans did it, the media would be furious about. But because it's Biden, they don't care. Because it's Biden, they'll cover for him. And we should pray for Joe Biden. He doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. And you will recall that these same reporters, when he had that horrible CNN debate, rushed out to say, well, he has a cold. No, turns out he had prostate cancer. But he also had dementia. And all these people in the press decided better to cover for Joe Biden than to be truthful and honest. And the punchline and the irony is, because they did that, Donald Trump got reelected. And because they're continuing to do it, maybe Donald Trump really could get that third term.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues in Fairburn with the construction in 2 left lanes in both directions of I-85, north and southbound. Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. Use Highway 29. Crash cleared in Woodstock, 575 southbound past Highway 92, exit 7. Delays as you start leaving Town Lake Parkway are improving. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com radio.com now for 60% off, and for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Here we go, friends. It's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is eggs. EGGS, eggs. Enter the keyword eggs into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You got until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. The keyword is eggs, EGGS, eggs. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, pick it up. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. Good luck.
Spring is in the air, and a lot of us are looking at things to spruce up our homes, from tweaking or landscaping, a little bit of paint. But how's your roof looking? This is Scott Slade. A new roof can dramatically improve the look of your home. Lots of uncertainties in the economy right now, so my roofer, FGA Roofing, has put together an offer you should consider. They call it the 000 plan. 0 down payment, 0 interest for 12 months, and 0 monthly payments for 12 months. With FGA Roofing, you can get a quote in just a few days and your roof installed in just a couple of weeks. And you can wait to pay until it fits your timeline. FGA Roofing specializes in slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, as well as architectural roofs. The experts at FGA Roofing can lay out all the options for you, whether your roof is aging out or you just want a designer upgrade for your home, or both. FGA Roofing, where you'll get first-rate installation and quality service, always. Just search FGA Roofing to get started with a free quote today. That's FGA Roofing.
These days, the Atlanta real estate market is just like Atlanta weather, unpredictable. Hi, I'm Deborah Morton, host of Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB every Saturday at 1 p.m. If there was ever a time to work with a true real estate expert, now is that time. In all my years in residential real estate, this is the most change and volatility I've seen. A misstep could cost thousands. This is when experience matters. My team and I are passionate about providing clarity to our clients through our expertise in real estate. So, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, we can give you that clarity so you can make great choices and the best decisions. And yes, I host Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB, but you don't have to wait until Saturday for help. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com and ask me anything. My team and I are here for you. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com for clarity in buying or selling your home.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, fresh Heritage Farm bone-in chicken drumsticks or thighs are on sale. Just $1.49 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last autumn, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number in my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, don't be shy. Level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot trouble while we still have an option to deal with them. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at that price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. I'm living proof that preventive medicine can save lives, so don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. So don't put this off. Schedule this Virtual Imaging LDCT whole body scan for just $995 during the month of May, while you still have options.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. LaMonica McIver is a New Jersey Democratic congresswoman. She is going to be prosecuted for her attack on a federal detention facility where she assaulted guards. She has repeatedly claimed that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are not above the law and that justice must be done. And now that she's going to be prosecuted for an assault that was literally caught on videotape, she's screaming that this is an infringement on her rights. This is a miscarriage of justice. I thought she was big on law and order. I thought she was big on justice. And now she's squealing like a stuck pig because the prosecutor, this was caught on video. What she did to the ICE agents and how she invaded a place she did not have permission to go was literally caught on videotape. She bragged about it at the time, and now suddenly there are going to be consequences. And she doesn't want the consequences. She wants you and me to face justice when we deserve it. She wants Donald Trump and Elon Musk to face justice. She herself does not wish to face justice. She herself thinks that prosecuting her for crimes that she's caught on tape committing is a affront to justice and to her rights as a member of Congress. No. Dirty little secret. You know what a member of Congress is? A citizen of the United States. And the Constitution gives them extraordinary leeway on avoiding being arrested when they're headed to or from Congress and allows them to say anything they want on the floor of Congress without any consequence whatsoever. But when they are neither inside Congress nor headed to it or away from it, they're just an ordinary American citizen who happens to have got elected to office, and they can be prosecuted and they can be imprisoned. And she should be prosecuted for what she did. She wanted Donald Trump prosecuted for a whole lot of things that were far more nebulous. This was caught on camera. She gets the consequences of her actions. Democrats seem to want everyone to suffer the consequences of their actions and never to have to suffer the consequences of theirs. Well, now she's going to. Not a bad thing. She needs to. I mean, I saw the videotape. You all saw the videotape. It's just kind of wild. Now, let me tell you about Vision Computer because they would love to have you in your business. They can build you a computer. They can upgrade your existing computer. You don't want to go to the one-size-fits-all big box store. You just don't want to because you're not going to get a computer that's right for you. You're going to get a computer that is made for the least common denominator of Americans. You want a computer that is your computer. Vision Computer will interview you about your needs and your wants. They'll make sure it's upgradable over time. And you get their world-class 5-star customer service where anytime you have a question, you pick up the phone. They answer you quicker than you can get the answer off of the computer, off of Google, and they guide you. They can remote in to your computer. They can help you with email support, printer support, whatever you need. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. 404-COMPUTE's the phone number. If you call them and tell them I sent you, you're going to get even more of a discount. Now, let's say you just need their world-class tech support. Well, for $179 a year, mention me, see if you get a discount, they can take care of you. $179 per computer. So you've got employees and you're tired of being your in-house IT guy, or you can't afford an in-house IT guy for your company, Vision can take care of you. 404-COMPUTE or VisionComputers.com. Give them a call. Tell them Eric sent you.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Atlanta's big airport getting ready for a very busy Memorial Day and summer travel period. 2.6 million passengers expected to travel through Hartsfield-Jackson tomorrow through Wednesday, May 28th. Partly to mostly cloudy today, warm and humid. Highs around 89. Storms could arrive tonight after 10 o'clock, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. The FDA wants to see new clinical trials showing COVID shots are still safe and effective before they approve them for healthy young adults and children. The studies will have to show actual clinical outcomes like fewer infections and hospitalizations before the FDA grants full approval of a shot. And today, the FDA is saying that it will limit access to those vaccines going forward to people 65 and older and others who are at high risk of becoming seriously ill if they are infected. The government estimates that's about 100 to 200 million Americans that have conditions that would put them at high risk of severe illness. This is new at 12:30. You're going to soon be able to charge your electric vehicle while dining at Waffle House, the Norcross-based restaurant chain, announcing a partnership with BP Pulse to install charging stations at Waffle House locations across the United States, including right here in Georgia. The first charging stations are expected to go live in 2026. Customers will be able to charge up to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Waffle House Director of Innovation, David Rep, says charging up while fueling up on the All-Star Special will be convenient and fast. And golfers might like this. The PGA Tour Superstore plans to open a new location in the Buckhead Square Shopping Center on Peachtree Road. It would be where the Haverty's is now. That store is closing this summer. The Buckhead location will be the fourth PGA Tour Superstore location in Metro Atlanta, and it's first in the city limits since a former Buckhead location had to close during the Great Recession. It was where Passion City Church is now located. An opening date for this new Superstore has not yet been announced. It's 12:32.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Heavy rain can significantly impact your septic system by saturating the soil and causing backups in your home. I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We can help. My licensed, insured, experienced team responds 24/7 with upfront pricing and high-quality work.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Hey, it's Shelley Winter here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the other night I was snoring so bad, I was tossing and turning, and AMAC, the lawyer, came to me and said, honey, why don't you get a CPAP machine? I said, a CPAP machine? Then I can't roll over and kiss you in the middle of the night. I'm not doing that. You know what I did? I went to PalmettoSleep.com. There is an alternative to CPAP machines. It's oral appliance therapy. It's a great alternative to that bulky CPAP. You don't have to spend the night in a sleep lab. None of that happens with PalmettoSleep.com. They can arrange for an at-home sleep test in the comfort of your own bed. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to go to PalmettoSleep.com right now and sign up, because if you can't sleep at night, you have a terrible day the next day, and nobody wants that. I know I don't like it when it happens to me, so I went to PalmettoSleep.com. Go to PalmettoSleep.com and get rid of that CPAP machine.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Travel advisory continues in Fairburn through the work zone. 2 left lanes blocked with construction both ways. 85 north and southbound around Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. Use Highway 29. And a few brake lights, 285 south, the Interloop in Tucker, leaving I-85 down toward La Vista Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 89. Thunderstorms arrive after 10 p.m., continuing through early tomorrow morning.
More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Hello and welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you wish to be on the program, I'd be happy to have you. Don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. You can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast. You can get the show notes email that comes to you, morning commentary, and then as the show starts, the links of all the stuff I'm going to talk about. Right now, I'm going to go to Scott's phone call. Welcome to the show, Scott. How are you?
Doing good, Eric. How are you?
Great.
Hey, real quick, if you'll pull up the statement from the White House that they released. I called it, but I don't know if you did. But in their statement, it said last week President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. New is the key word there to me. Then, later on in that same statement, they say, while this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. How could they already know in less than 72 hours that it's already hormone sensitive? That's my question to you. What are your thoughts?
That's actually Scott, listen, that's a great question because, my wife and I, having gone through this with her cancer and the testing to see what sort of cancer it is, it doesn't come back quick. The fact that they got this, because the timeline is he found out on Friday and they released the statement on Sunday. I mean, so basically a 48-hour turnaround over the weekend. Again, it is implausible that that's actually the case. It is fundamentally implausible that they were able to turn this around. No, I mean, they've known for a while that it was hormone dependent. It's absolutely asinine to think otherwise. It's just wild to me that they think we're gonna buy this. And again, they actually did cover up Beau Biden's cancer and issue statements that he had a clean bill of health. John, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show.
Hey, Eric. This is Jarhead John. I think I've spoke to you in the past. I'm 61 years old, and at age 55, I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer. And it had gone to my bones, many vertebrae, lumbar, 6 inches of my right femur, sternum, bunch of ribs. Yeah, it was tough. And I had to go to England to get scanned because we didn't have a PSMA PET scan here. So I went to the Paul Strickland Cancer Center in London. I'm trying to make a long story short, and it basically lit me up like a Christmas tree. And they decided, I asked them straight up, how long do I have to live? And he said, if you do nothing, a year. If you battle this cancer, 3 years. Go plan your death, do a will, whole 9 yards. So I did all that. I found out Germany had a drug. So I went to Heidelberg twice for a drug called lutetium that we did not have here in the United States. We do now, and it's called Pluvecto. And I'm not sure that they dose you the way they dose the way the Germans dose you as far as the intensity, but it basically goes into your body and it attaches to your PSMA expressed cancer. And that's leading into your last caller. How would they know that that hormone therapy may work? That's how they would know. They were worried about me because my PSA was normal. It was never above 3.0. And at 55, if you're less than 4.0, you're considered normal. So I think, honestly, I got it while I was in the Marine Corps. I mean, what 50-year-old has stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer? That's an old man disease. But the Marine Corps, they didn't see it my way. But that's neither here nor there. But if you do a PSMA PET scan, and they usually use an isotope like gallium-68 or Pylarify, and if it expresses, if you express PSMA and where your cancer is gone, even though it's in a bone, it's still prostate cancer. So that's how they would know whether he was, whether he could have hormone treatment and that it would work. But what baffles me to no end, it is one of the most painful cancers there are. I can't fish. I can't hunt. I can hardly walk some days. I can't do the things I enjoy. You talk about your wife and her lung cancer because you love her. What wife or child would not love their father the same way and would not want them to get treatment, like, as soon as they found out? That's the part that baffles me. And I know the Bidens haven't been honest with the American public, and it just, the whole cancer thing, it baffles me to have a loved one kind of put it aside. And so I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's tough to do so.
Yeah, look, I absolutely think there's we should have compassion and sympathy for the president and what his family is going through. He's lost his son to an aggressive form of brain cancer. He now has this aggressive form of prostate cancer. We absolutely should pray for him, lift him up in prayers, pray for treatment, pray for the doctors, pray for his well-being and healing. But we do not owe him the benefit of the doubt. We don't owe him the benefit of the doubt at all. And when you look at this statement, how did they know? If he just found out on Friday, how did they know so quickly that this was a hormone treated? Because again, and the prior caller raised a great point. My wife's cancer, it took some testing to be able to figure out what was responsive. And it's not a 48-hour turnaround, particularly over a weekend. There's so much about the statement that doesn't add up to suggest that it's anything other than a cover-up. And when you add into it, they covered up Beau Biden's cancer. Beau Biden had an aggressive form of brain cancer. They knew he was going to die, and they still continued, while he was Attorney General, to issue statements claiming that he had a clean bill of health. They found the doctor to do it. And now you want us to implausibly believe that this is something new, that he didn't have cancer when he was president. When you've got Zeke Emanuel, a world-renowned oncology expert, saying it's impossible for him to have gotten this form of prostate cancer since he left the White House and have it spread to his bone. The fact that they did not do PSA tests at all on Joe Biden while he was president of the United States boggles the mind. It is not plausible to think that. Now, you know what's plausible is go back to Zeke Emanuel's statement from yesterday. Zeke Emanuel said that he probably had this before he got to the White House. And if that is in fact the case, then of course they didn't want to do they didn't want to do PSA tests. Of course they didn't want to do it. Now, if you weren't here yesterday, this is Zeke Emanuel.
Zeke, you're an oncologist, obviously incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
Don't think there's any disagreement with that. Well, the Washington Post helpfully found one doctor in America to come out and disagree. And, you know, there's this older lady in Twitter saying, I don't believe he had it. Why didn't he treat it? How do you know he didn't get treatment? How do you know he didn't get treatment? Because you think, well, we would have known. How would you have known? He routinely went to Delaware, was in Delaware often, sitting on the beach, had bruise on his hand where you would get an IV. You don't think he got treatment? Oh, I absolutely think he was going through treatment. I just think they covered it up. And I think that the treatment wasn't aggressive enough because he wasn't going to get chemo and radiation. They wanted to do treatment as best they could without signs of treatment. I mean, they covered up his dementia. They covered up his dementia. I mean, Democrats are having a hard time rationalizing this. Folks, Democrats, you were lied to. You were lied to. One of the things that happens over and over and over again in politics is that both sides believe that their side is virtuous and the other side is bad. And so both sides have a hard time fathoming that they were played by their side. Both sides have a hard time believing. You know, there's a story I'll get to later about Qatar pouring lots of money into the right-wing echo chamber to lie about Qatar and amplify Qatar in a sympathetic portrayal. The grifters on the right. I remember one time there was a TV host that a member of my family loved because they watched him on TV every night. He's like, no, actually, this person's a horrible human being. Like, this is a genuinely awful person. No one likes to deal with this person. I am on this network. I hear horror stories all the time. And my relative was shocked that it was not a good person. Democrats are going through that right now. They are so convinced it's the Republicans who are liars. They are so convinced that only the Republicans are mendacious and dishonest. They cannot actually fathom that they themselves were lied to by their leadership. They cannot fathom the extent of the lies. They cannot fathom that their party is as bad as the Republican Party when it comes to things like this. They can't, because they have, along with the media over the last 5 years, built themselves up to be hyper-virtuous. Look at Jonathan Martin again. Jonathan Martin in Politico trying to rationalize that somehow J.D. Vance is too online, and that's why he has concluded that Joe Biden might not have been fit to be president of the United States. I got to read you this. This is from Jonathan Martin. He wrote it right after the election. Democrats must recognize that they unwittingly seeded the ground for Trump's revival. Their leftward acceleration under his presidency handed him the fodder he needed to portray the opposition as radical. The shift was well-meaning and even understandable. Democrats wanted to redouble their commitment to those under duress at a time of threat. When you've got even reporters trying to make the Democrats as the virtuous party, it's hard to realize that you're getting played, that you've been lied to, that they're not virtuous, that they're just as mendacious, they're just as power hungry. Democrats are really struggling with that right now, and the conclusion they're coming to is that everyone, not of them, is a conspiracy theorist, and there's no way Joe Biden had this cancer when he was president. Yet here's Zeke Emanuel, a world-renowned oncology expert who is a Democrat, the brother of Rahm Emanuel and Ari Emanuel, the famous Hollywood agent, going on MSNBC with Joe Scarborough saying there's no way he did not have prostate cancer when he was president. But Democrats, they can't fathom that Joe Biden, the man they believe is honest, brave, bold, he's also a liar. But he was. They even lied about Beau Biden's cancer diagnosis when he was on the verge of death. Yeah, they sure did. It's well documented. If you don't believe me, well, you can read a book coming out next week called Original Sin by Jake Tapper that has all the goods in it on this particular topic. Now, I got to tell you about Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank is my bank. They can be your bank. They would love to be your bank. You can go to oldglorybank.com, oldglorybank.com. You can get an account, checking account, savings account, business account. You can get mortgages. You can get car loans. You can get CDs. Your kids can get an account. Let me talk about your kids. Your kids might be stockpiling cash and need a bank, and you're thinking the local bank. But do you know that the local bank is going to be there in 5 years? Old Glory Bank is going to be around. And your kids can deposit cash at Old Glory Bank and start building a relationship now for the bank of the future. That's Old Glory Bank. By conservatives, for conservatives, and they'd love to have your business. You go to oldglorybank.com. You get your account set up. Checking account, savings account, business account. If you're a business and you're worried about being harassed by progressives, Old Glory Bank is not going to cancel you. They're by conservatives, for conservatives. No debanking at Old Glory Bank. Go to oldglorybank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. We are still watching the travel advisory in the work zone. 2 left lanes blocked each way. 85 north and southbound. Highway 74, Sonoya Road. Use Highway 29. New stall in the left lane into cab. 285 northbound the outer loop before Glenwood Road, exit 44. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and for UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh, my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
Have you gotten your grilling preparations and fixins for Memorial Day? It's coming up. I've got mine from Omaha Steaks, and you should too, because during the Memorial Day sale, you get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And listen, you're going to get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Just look for the promo code box, put in my name, Eric. You'll get $35 off and already 50% off site-wide. So I loaded up on hamburgers and the gourmet jumbo franks. Of course, my wife loves the caramel apple tartlets. But go load up your cart with deliciousness. Whatever you want, 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks for Memorial Day. It is deliciousness delivered to your door. I've already got my order in. I did save you guys some food, so go check it out. omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide. The Memorial Day sale happening right now. Use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163. 546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you are growing your business and need access to capital and, your lender is maybe giving you the runaround, reach out to First Liberty, firstlibertyga.com. firstlibertyga.com. See if the Frost family can help you grow your business. They've been helping businesses grow since the 90s. firstlibertyga.com. Tell them I sent you. Y'all know what Klarna is. I get ads all the time for Klarna. When I'm buying stuff online, use Klarna. We've got a lot of data out there that shows consumer spending is up. You hear this all the time. We hear that there is massive, robust economic spending in the country. Consumers are spending. It actually doesn't look like consumers are spending. They're buying. They're just not actually paying. This is from the Financial Times. Klarna's losses widen after more consumers fail to repay loans. Buy now, pay later groups' weaker results come as concerns rise about the financial health of the American consumer. The fintech, which offers interest-free consumer loans to allow customers to make retail purchases on Monday, reported a net loss of $99 million for the 3 months up to March, up from $47 million a year ago. These are essentially, as Amy Nixon, who's a Dallas-Fort Worth housing economic analyst, points out, these are subprime loans. There's no collateral. They're not going to repossess your Gucci handbag or your shoes from you. A lot of consumers buying a lot of stuff, and they're not actually paying for it. They're doing the buy now, pay later loans, and they're not actually paying those loans back. That's a terrible sign for the state of the American economy. There are all sorts of warning signs that the economy is not as healthy as it appears. And when you start getting an increase in people unable to pay their credit card debt, you start getting an increase in people unable to pay their car loans, you start getting an increase in people unable to pay their Klarna loans back. It's a big red flag that under the surface of the economy, there's something not good happening. We all said this when Biden was president, and they all denied it. We shouldn't start being the propagandists we attacked them for. This isn't a Donald Trump problem. It's just a general economic problem. You know, there are friends of mine who are economists who say the economy comes in 18-year waves, that after 18 years, the economy does a hard reset, and that it's been doing that since time immemorial, and this is the 18th year from that financial crisis back in 2008. And there's a financial crisis growing when you've got Klarna with these interest-free consumer loans where you pay a fee to do it, and you don't actually pay interest, you pay a fee. That's how they make their money, and people aren't paying back the money. Red flags. Red flags. Be careful. When we come back, you will be made to hear. I'll take your phone calls as well, 877-973-7425. But first, when we come back, in Colorado, a number of Christian nonprofits are beginning to close up shop. Why? Because the Democrats in Colorado have now passed a very radical transgender law that if you misname someone, dead name them, they call them by their real name, in other words, you could be put out of business. You can be fined by the state. Parents can have their children taken away. It is another reminder, you will be made to care. Whether you want to or not, you will be made to care.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Window Nation. Atlanta's airport getting ready for an influx of summer travelers over Memorial Day.
The world's busiest airport will certainly be living up to its name over the next week. Airport officials expect more than 2.6 million travelers to pass through here during the holiday travel period beginning tomorrow. Airport Assistant and General Manager Gus Hudson.
The single busiest day? Well, that'll be Friday, May 23rd, when we are expecting nearly 378,000 people to travel through our airport.
The TSA will have extra security lanes open to help screen an estimated 710,000 passengers over the next 7 days. Officials urging everyone to pack their patience. At Hartsfield-Jackson, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Partly to mostly cloudy today. Afternoon highs near 90. Storms arriving tonight after 10 o'clock, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. A former Atlanta mayor has her sights set on the governor's mansion.
She knows the nation will be watching Georgia's governor's race in 2026, but Keisha Lance Bottoms tells WSB she's ready.
I've always been a fighter.
Bottoms says November was her turning point. She says while she worked with the Trump administration during her single term as Atlanta's mayor,
This Trump 2.0 has been devastating for our economy.
Bottoms says she wants to address issues like the teacher shortage and Medicaid. She says her decision was not based on anyone else who might run. So far, that list includes Democrat Jason Estevez and Republican Chris Carr. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
U.S. News and World Report out with its rankings for the top places to live in America, and Johns Creek has been chosen as the #1 place to call home.
It is the 10th largest city in Georgia, and the combination of low crime, high-ranked schools, and good job opportunities helped push it to the top. Mayor John Bradbury says weather and other variables also factored in.
Well, it is an honor. We're very blessed in Johns Creek, and we've got great residents.
He says they are not standing pat, and more great things are coming.
We've never had a town center, and we are currently in the middle of building that.
Johns Creek was followed by Carmel, Indiana, and Pearland, Texas. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Former NFL coach Bill Belichick is reportedly engaged to his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. The New York Times reports Hudson has told at least one person she's engaged to the 73-year-old. Belichick's relationship's been in the spotlight recently after Hudson interrupted an interview with CBS when Belichick was asked about how they'd met. Belichick is taking over as head coach of the University of North Carolina's football program this season. He won 6 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. Inflation worries increasing depending on who you ask. The odds that the U.S. economy will slip into a recession this year stand between 30 and 50%. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's down 95 at 42,696. NASDAQ is also down slightly. So is the S&P. It's 102.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Right now, get 4 windows free with every 4 you buy, plus no interest for 2 years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
If you've been in a motorcycle accident, move swiftly to protect your rights. It's Eric Von Hessler, and I recommend Steel Horse Law, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. They're 100% local, the only firm that's a major part of the North Georgia motorcycle community. At your next local bike night, ride, or charity event, stop by their booth and say hello. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work, and your case resolved. Request a free Rider's Advantage card at steelhorselaw.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Hi, it's Tim Andrews for My Roofer FGA Roofing. Are you considering a new roof but not sure when you'll be able to get it in the budget? FGA Roofing is offering a 000 offer this month. 0 down payment, 0 interest for 12 months, and 0 monthly payments. Search FGA Roofing for a free quote today.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
Some new trouble in Kennesaw. It looks like a crash. It's in the left lane, 75 northbound, before Wade Green Road, exit 273. Already jamming up the ride back to the I-575 split. Heads up into Cobb County. They got cones out in the left lane, clearing up a stall. I think they're starting to pick them up now, actually. 285 north, the outer loop. Glenwood Road, exit 44. That should help the ride coming up from Flat Shoals. And travel advisory continues on the south side with that left lane construction. 2 left lanes blocked, actually. 85 north and south at Highway 74. Use Highway 29 to avoid those delays between Union City and Fairburn. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwords. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 89. Storms arrive after 10 p.m. tonight, continuing to roll through metro Atlanta through 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Drying out tomorrow afternoon, high 82. Cooling down on Thursday, mostly sunny with highs in the upper 70s to low 80s.
82 degrees right now in Lithia Springs. It's 83 in Chamblee here in Midtown Atlanta. We have a mix of clouds and sun and 83 degrees on Peachtree Street. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, although hold the line, we got stuff we got to talk about here. If you text the word data to 33777, you can get the show notes and a discount, no less, on that subscription. I want to start the program, tell you there is a phrase I coined a long time ago, back when I was at Red State, called "You Will Be Made to Care." If you go to Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, you can find my book, You Will Be Made to Care. Years ago, when Barack Obama was president, 2009 or so, I was the editor of Red State. And this was as gay marriage was advancing across the country. Had a guy come to Red State, and again, I was the editor-in-chief of the site, and I put something up about the state of play and the gay marriage fight. And he said, I don't care about gay marriage. It doesn't affect me. It's not going to affect me. I simply don't care. You can't make me care about it. No one can. It's not possible. It's just not an issue that I care about. And I replied to him, you will be made to care. Whether you want to admit it or not, you will be made to care. You will be forced to pick a side. You won't be able to sit on the sideline and say, I don't care about it. You will be made to care. One way or the other, you will be made to care. You will be made to care through persecution and hostility. You will be made to care through access and friends. You will be made to care by society or the church. You will be made to care. And ever since then, the phrase has taken off. At some point, I was told by, I believe it was Matt Lewis, who now writes at the Daily Beast, that if you don't write a book on the growing Christian persecution of the country, I'm going to, and I'm going to steal the phrase, you will be made to care. So I wrote the book on the growing Christian persecution in the United States, and the book is called You Will Be Made to Care. And the book started with the fire chief of the city of Atlanta back in the day. The fire chief for the city of Atlanta wrote a book for his church. It was a young men's Sunday school class, and he wrote a book about marriage and relationships and how God put Adam and Eve together. Who told you you were naked? I think the class and the book were called. And it was about opening your eyes to sin and about right relationships with God and right relationships with each other and right relationships in marriage. And the book was absolutely fine. It was biblically based. It was for his church. And then the city of Atlanta gave the fire chief permission, if he wanted to actually publish the book, and he did. And then a lesbian fire captain in the city of Atlanta filed a human resources complaint, and the fire chief was fired for having written a book for his Sunday school class at church, quoting scripture, because it offended a lesbian fire captain. You will be made to care. You will be forced to take a side on the issue. People to this day insist that gay marriage doesn't affect anybody. Does it not affect the people who were put out of business because they didn't want to, they had wedding venues but didn't want to celebrate gay marriage because they were Christians and believe marriage is between a man and a woman? What about transgenderism? The people who have been punished for refusing to identify a man as a woman, to speak untruth in the name of not offending anyone. You will be made to care. Society will make you care. And in Colorado, they are making people care. The progressive left is persecuting Christians through the legislature. This is from the Denver Post. Colorado law now explicitly protects transgender people from being, quote-unquote, dead-named or misgendered in certain places under legislation signed into law Friday by Governor Jared Polis. Passed by House Bill 1312, the new law is formally named for Kelly Loving, a trans woman who died in the 2022 mass shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs. The law expands the state's anti-discrimination laws, which apply to settings like workplaces and schools, to include provisions related to using a person's chosen name and referring to them how they wish. It also makes it easier for people to change their gender identity on birth certificates and driver's licenses and to change their names on marriage licenses. The Kelly Loving Act is a beacon of hope to trans people across the country. Z. Williams, whose law firm Bread and Roses supported HB 1312, said Friday, "Our organizing works. Hope is still alive. To be trans is to know how to struggle. You will not stop this work until every trans person is safe and free." The bill's journey through the legislature included conservative pushback and political wrangling among LGBTQ plus advocacy groups. On Friday, Jared Polis signed the bill administratively without issuing a statement or holding a ceremony. You see, Jared Polis, the liberal governor of Colorado, likes to cultivate an image as a sort of live and let live libertarian on the left, and he's not. He's actually a pretty progressive guy. And so he didn't want to take credit for the legislation because he doesn't want to disabuse people of his supposedly modern image, but he's actually a liberal, and he signed legislation that is deeply progressive that will punish individuals for speaking the truth. Among another section which would have directed judges to consider parents' acceptance of their children's gender identity in family court proceedings drew significant opposition. Those provisions were struck from the bill. The family court language was removed entirely, while the SHIELD law was replaced with a legislative declaration stating that people should receive health care without unnecessary government interference. Now, the governor is also expected to sign House Bill 1309, which enshrines access to gender-affirming care in state law. So they improved the bill by stripping out parental provisions. However, businesses can be punished. Looming over this is Jack Phillips. Jack Phillips is a baker in Aurora, Colorado, who has been routinely persecuted by the state of Colorado for being a Christian. Jack Phillips will not bake cakes for Halloween because Jack Phillips considers Halloween to be a pagan holiday. Jack Phillips will not bake cakes for second marriages, weddings, because he believes marriage is between a man and a woman and divorce is a sin. So if he doesn't know your cake is for a second wedding, you'll get a cake. But if he knows, he's not going to provide you the service because it's against his faith. Marriage is a sacrament or sacred, and you can't get a divorce. Jared Polis will not bake a cake for a gay wedding. He had a couple come into his place of business and asked for one, And he said he couldn't do that, but he would gladly sell them a pre-made wedding cake, and they could put the same-sex wedding topper on it of two men holding hands. And for that sinfulness, that horror, he was punished by the state, went to the Supreme Court. They referred to him as a Nazi. He was willing to sell a wedding cake, a generic wedding cake to the same-sex couple, just wasn't willing to put a same-sex topper on it, and they persecuted him, went to the Supreme Court. On the day Jack Phillips won the case, a trans lawyer went to his shop and demanded he bake a cake for a transition celebration, and he refused and was sued again. That case has made it to the Colorado Supreme Court, where it was dismissed largely on a technicality and will probably be revisited. In Colorado, you will be made to care. And now in Colorado, a Christian summer camp is shutting down. The Christian summer camp in the foothills near Bailey is going to shut down because they are required under state law to allow campers to camp based on their gender identity. So the summer camp puts boys with boys and girls with girls. But if a girl identifies as a boy and wants to be with the boys, the Christian summer camp says no. Thanks to the laws of Colorado now, the camp is going to shut down unless the federal judge says they can separate campers by sex rather than gender identity. You will be made to care. People will become unemployed. And you can say, it doesn't matter, it doesn't affect me. But it does, because it's the truth. What the left and the trans community are doing is they're at war with the truth. Because the truth is, boys cannot become girls. And the truth is, girls cannot become boys. From a theological perspective, in Genesis 1, there's a word used in the original Hebrew called bara. And bara is how God creates, divine creation. You and I cannot bara. Only God can bara. Only God can divinely create. And the Bible says God divinely, or bara, he divinely creates us male and female. That means we can't create ourselves male and female. There's another book I wrote called You Shall Be As Gods, and it documents the trans community. It's my newest book, You Shall Be As Gods. And it's how the secular left has transmitted itself the power of bara. The left believes you can bara. You can divinely create yourself as male or female. You may be born male or female, but you can create yourself as female or male. They're at war with the truth. They are at war with reality. And what this Colorado law does, it's very subtly pernicious. But that's perniciousness that is worse. Subtle perniciousness is the worst form of perniciousness, because to the general person who's not affected by it, they don't feel it. But the law says you will be punished for speaking the truth. Now, you know, people get mad at me for calling Bruce Jenner Caitlyn Jenner. But he legally changed his name to Caitlyn Jenner. So if Bruce Jenner wants to legally change his name to Caitlyn Jenner, he can do that. And I will say the law now says that Bruce Jenner is Caitlyn Jenner. He has changed his name. But the law can't change truth. The law may attempt to change truth. Caitlyn Jenner is still a man. And though the driver's license may say female, he's not. Congressman Sarah McBride from Delaware issued a statement about Joe Biden and prostate cancer awareness. And people replied back, yes, Congressman, get your prostate checked too. Sarah McBride is a man who has a prostate. Men have prostates. Women do not. Women cannot get prostate cancer. Women and men are biologically distinct. 200 years from now, when Caitlyn Jenner and Sarah McBride are dead and buried, and archaeologists or anthropologists stumble upon their bodies, they will know very quickly that despite the names Caitlyn Jenner and Sarah McBride, these are men. They will know it by their hip structure. They will know it by their skeletal remains that these two individuals were men. You can't bury the truth forever. And the trans community is predicated on a perniciousness that forces individuals against their will to lie and to state the lie as the truth. It is a power play. It's from Marxism. Marxism believes reality is controlled by words. And if you can force people to change their words, you can change reality. It is the presuppositional idea within Marxism advocated by Karl Marx. So if you can force someone to call a man a woman, then that man becomes a woman, not in biological reality, but in power politics, in the power of reality. In the same way, communists for years have demanded people tell lies as truth. Nazis have done it. Communists have done it. Totalitarian regimes regularly insist people do it. It's one reason I won't go along with the Gulf of Mexico name change. Because the Gulf of Mexico name change has been around for 500 years, and the next Democratic president is just going to swap it back. It's just we're trying to force a reality. I'll go along with someone's name change because legally that individual desires to be called by something else, and the court says yes, and so I'll honor that. But a geographic body that for 500 years has been called by something, no. It's trying to use power to change reality, and I'm not down with that. And I'm not down with the idea that a boy can be called a girl and become a girl by the force of power of language because it's not biological truth or reality. And in Colorado, you will be made to care. If you misgender someone, you can be fined, your business punished. And we should all be standing up for the truth against Colorado and Jared Polis.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
122, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in Kennesaw. Stalled big rig that was in the left lane. Just cleared 75 northbound before Wade Green Road exit 273. Still slow out of Marietta, but that will get better. They're picking up the construction in Fairburn from the left lanes on 85 north and southbound around Highway 74, Sonoya Road exit 61. Once that construction clears, those delays will improve, so no more need to use Highway 29 as an alternate. And stall cleared in DeKalb, 285 northbound, the outer loop at Glenwood Road. That was in the left lane. It has since cleared. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric
me.
Von Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Now is the season to have AquaGuard Foundation Solutions save your crawl space from the bad things down there and make the air you breathe in your home healthier with a crawl space encapsulation. Simply set up a free inspection at aquaguard.net. Remember, AquaGuard.
City of Hope, a place where seemingly impossible blood cancers become treatable, curable. With more than 19,000 bone marrow transplants performed, we're the largest and most successful program in the U.S., making major breakthroughs in treating leukemia, lymphoma, and rare blood cancers, personalizing a treatment plan right down to your DNA. Now the experts striving to make the impossible a reality are closer to home. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Your attic is like a 5-star resort to critters, and they're ready to move in. Dave Baker here for Breda Pest Management. If critters are creeping in your attic, better call Breda to get a highly trained expert to kick those critters out. Under the Breda Wildlife Guarantee, if any critter returns, you're covered at no additional cost. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
As a business owner, if you had attempted fraud on your bank account today, how would you know? Do you have tools in place to detect and prevent it? I'm Brian Parks, head of commercial banking in Atlanta for Ameris Bank. Our local bankers are here to guide your company and make recommendations for your business, including fraud prevention tools like Positive Pay. This month, Ameris is offering a free on-demand cybersecurity and fraud prevention webinar. To view the webinar and learn more about how our bankers can help you protect your business, visit amerisbank.com/businessmonth. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. That's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the safest CT imaging option in the Southeast with 98% accuracy. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
You know your old roof doesn't really care for this recent rain. Dave Baker for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Your roof is your front line of defense to stop water from getting inside. Not sure about your roof? Think of Findlay first. FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Those of you on the lines, be patient with me. Short segment here. I will get to you as soon as we come back. But first, Bloomberg journalist among anti-Israel radicals arrested for storming Columbia University. This is from John Levine at the Free Beacon. Bloomberg journalist Jason Cowell was among those arrested at Columbia University during a violent takeover of the school's Butler Library earlier this month. Cow, a graphics reporter for the news outlet and Columbia alumnus, was one of the 81 radicals collared at the library after the violent mob clashed with security officials. During the unrest, rioters injured 2, passed out pamphlets endorsing Hamas's violence, vandalized and damaged the library, and renamed the building after Basil al-Araj, a Palestinian terrorist, killed in a 2017 shootout with the Israeli Defense Force. I currently work for Bloomberg News, where I use data visualizations to cover the news. Cal wrote on his personal website. He was employed by Bloomberg News as of May 1st based on a social media post from a colleague. A Bloomberg spokesman told the Free Press on Monday Cal is no longer employed by the company. An NYPD spokesman confirmed to the Free Beacon Cal was cuffed and charged with criminal trespass in the 3rd degree, suggesting he wasn't simply covering the storming of the library as a journalist. He didn't respond to comment. Radicals everywhere. Americans for Prosperity is trying to marshal support for President Trump's tax plan. We'll get into the details of the tax plan when we come back. The president's been on Capitol Hill pushing people to vote for it, and AFP is trying to get Americans to call members of Congress to get their support. They are rallying their army. They want you to go to protectprosperity.com. Sign up today with Americans for Prosperity to get common sense conservative reforms passed and to get the president's tax plan passed. Lots of details coming out the tax plan. AFP is trying to make sure it's the best possible deal to spark economic growth. Some analysts now saying it could be between 3 and 5% economic growth, which would definitely help generate enough revenue to help deal with the deficit. All you got to do to get involved is go to protectprosperity.com. ProtectProsperity.com is brought to you by Americans for Prosperity. They're the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They would love to have you engaged for common sense conservative solutions. All you need to do is go to ProtectProsperity.com. That's ProtectProsperity.com, brought to you by our friends at Americans for Prosperity.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms officially announcing her run for governor in 2026. She tells WSB the November election was a turning point for her, calling the Trump administration devastating to the economy.
It's created a lot of uncertainty and anxiety across our state. People are still wondering how they can afford to buy eggs. They're wondering about their jobs. If you own a small business, these tariffs are impacting our businesses.
Bottoms says that she wants to tackle issues like Medicaid and the state's teacher shortage. The only other official entries in the governor's race so far are Democrat Jason Estevez and Republican Chris Carr. Your weather for today, partly to mostly cloudy, warm and humid, highs 89. Storms arriving tonight after 10 o'clock. Atlanta's big airport getting ready for a busy Memorial Day and summer travel period. 2.6 million passengers expected to travel through Hartsfield-Jackson International tomorrow through Wednesday. The FDA wants to see new clinical trials showing COVID shots are still safe and effective before they approve them for healthy adults and children. And those studies will have to show actual clinical outcomes like fewer infections or hospitalizations before the FDA will grant full approval. Now, today, the FDA is saying that it will limit access to COVID vaccines going forward to people 65 years old or older and others who are at high risk of becoming seriously ill if they are infected. And mortgage rates are going up. Rebecca Jarvis has details.
Getting more expensive to buy a home. The average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage hit 7.04%, its highest level since April 11th yesterday. That surge follows last week's downgrade of the U.S. credit outlook by Moody's, causing investors to look for safer investments.
And she says when rates crossed 7% back in April, which is usually a busy time for the home buying community, there was a pullback of pending sales of existing homes. It's 1:32.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. Now, that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the safest CT imaging option in the Southeast with 98% accuracy. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hey, homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Much better news in Fairburn. They have just cleared or clearing the rest of that road work from the left lanes. 85 north and southbound, Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. Delays will improve there. And getting a little better out of Marietta into Kennesaw. That stalled big grade cleared out of the left lane. 75 northbound just before Wade Green Road, exit 273. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 89. Thunderstorms arrive after 10 p.m., continuing through early tomorrow morning.
We'll have more news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. Delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the phones, I'd be happy to have you. And don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 and get the show notes, email, the live stream, all the links to all the stuff you need to keep in touch with the show. Let's go to the phones here across the country. Let's begin with Brad in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Brad, how are you?
Good, Eric. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being patient.
No worries. No worries. I always am. Hey, I don't want to beat a dead horse to death, and I know you got some other things to discuss today, but, you know, thinking about this Biden prostate cancer diagnosis and how rapidly it kind of just evolved here, and having a family member that's had cancer before, and I'm pretty sure everybody's kind of on the same page now that he's had this for a while. But do you think that it wasn't brought to light earlier because it could have been a major national security risk with the fact that the war in Russia and Ukraine is going on? There was a war between Israel and Gaza going on. And you've got the Chinese that were and are potentially cyber, warring with us already. Do you think maybe it wasn't brought to light, because of the 25th Amendment and just a whole bunch of, pieces in play that could make us susceptible to some form of an attack, whether it be cyber or otherwise?
So, that's a good question. And my honest and candid thought is that given what we know now about the Chinese infiltration of our telecom system, the odds are very good they've already known Joe Biden had cancer. The odds are they've intercepted phone calls and known. I don't think there is a serious national security issue involved, other than the fact that, you know the president is run down, but these people saw him, so they already knew something was wrong. They already knew that there was a problem. So I don't know that it was a national security concern. Now, here's the thing. I think they may want to say it was a national security concern, but if it was a national security concern, they would have needed to check his PSA levels while he was president, and they never did. They stopped before he entered the White House. And that's my red flag for they've known for some time, and they didn't want, it's not that they didn't want the Chinese and the Russians to know, it's that they didn't want you and me to know, because there would be questions about him needing to wind down and leave office, and there were all those stories about Kamala Harris not being fit to lead the office. Speaking of, Chris in Boca Raton, Florida, welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric, long-time listener, but just first-time caller here. Just 2 points of interest with the Biden cancer thing. I don't know if you recall this story, but there was, earlier this year, not too long ago, there was discussed how Kamala Harris had, assembled a team of people, or a transition team or something to do with Biden's death or in the event of Biden's death. And to me, it's like all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together now, because that's not normal behavior or activity, because I seriously doubt J.D. Vance right now is assembling a team of people, in the event of Donald Trump's death. So that tells me that maybe, they probably knew about it, because she's getting a group of people together in case Joe Biden dies, so she probably knew he had cancer. And then the other point of interest is Biden took so many vacations, and it's known that when he's not in the White House, they don't have to log visitors. But if he's in Connecticut, oncologists, doctors can come and go, give him any kind of treatment, and they're not logged. It's kind of like under the radar. So
Right.
those are my just two thoughts about the whole thing.
Yeah, and so Delaware, not Connecticut, but yes, I mean that's the whole thing. And Chris, if you go back to it, there were for multiple years, Joe Biden would come back from Delaware. There are plenty of pictures documenting this. Joe Biden would come back from Delaware, and he would have bruises on the upper side of his hand, not the palm, the upper side of the hand, where oftentimes, like my wife, when she goes in for her CT scans and when she goes in for her oncology screenings, that's where they put the IV in her hand there, because my wife, her veins are very hard to get a needle in, and so they typically go in through there, and that's where Joe Biden routinely had bruises. And we were all gaslit and told, no, don't believe your eyes. That's the camera. Then no, there were bruises. A lady asked me on Twitter, she says, do you really believe he's had cancer this whole time and didn't get treated? It's like, no, I believe he had cancer and was getting treatment, but he wasn't getting chemo. Didn't want his hair to fall out. Didn't want to look like he was getting treated. He did not want to go through those things, those treatments that would have caused him to be fatigued and whatnot, except he was fatigued as well. We know he had very light schedule, so maybe he was going through radiation. I don't know. There's a lot we don't know. But it boggles the mind to believe that Joe Biden only found out he had prostate cancer on Friday, and that it was so rapid it's already spread to his bones, and it wasn't there 3 months ago, 5 months ago, when he had his medical checkups at the White House. And by the way, he doesn't just do an annual physical at the White House. They run full batteries regularly on the President of the United States. None of it is plausible. The only thing that is plausible is he had cancer and knew, and that's why they didn't want the PSA test. They were doing treatment, and that's why he was gone so much. More vacation days than any other president in American history. That's Joe Biden. And in hindsight, it probably wasn't. It probably was treatment. Home in Delaware. The fact that the media doesn't even want to treat this as credible, they want to treat it as a conspiracy theory, just as another damning indictment on the American media, too. It's just wild to realize the extent to which the media is willing to cover these things up. Now, we got to shift here for a minute. There's a story, and I am intentionally running the story from Ryan Lucas from National Public Radio. 70% of the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division lawyers are leaving because of Trump's reshaping. This story makes me so happy. Harmeet Dillon has been sworn in as the Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. The Justice Department Civil Rights Division is in an upheaval amid a mass exodus of lawyers. Some 250 attorneys, or around 70% of the division's lawyers, have left or will have left the department by the time between Donald Trump's inauguration and the end of May, according to current and former officials. It marks a dramatic turn for the storied division, which was created during the Civil Rights Movement and the push to end racial segregation. For almost 70 years, it has sought to combat discrimination and to protect the constitutional rights of all Americans in everything from voting and housing to employment, elections, and policing. Now the administration is redirecting the division to enforce Trump's executive orders, including ending alleged racial indoctrination in schools, defending women from gender ideology extremism, and combating anti-Semitism and purported anti-Christian bias. 5 current and former department officials, most of whom spoke on conditions of anonymity for fear of retribution, say the current effort amounts to the dismantling of the division and its historic mission. Now, here's the thing. They quote Stacey Young. The Civil Rights Division exists to enforce civil rights laws that protect all Americans, she said. She, Stacey Young, is a former division attorney who left the department in late January. Now, this is it. It's not an arm of the White House. It doesn't exist to enact the president's own agenda. That's a perversion of the separation of powers and the role of an independent Justice Department. Yeah, the silence, it's necessary. Stacey Young, a former division attorney, says, quote, "It's not an arm of the White House. It doesn't exist to enact the president's own agenda. That's a perversion of the separation of powers and the role of an independent Justice Department." That's Stacey Young. Stacey Young is now the founder of Justice Connection. Well, that explains it. That explains it. Wow, Stacey Young turns out to be an hemorrhoid. We have our answer to her stupidity. Stacey Young is an hemorrhoid. By the way, she was associate counsel to Kamala Harris as well for a year. Stacey Young is an hemorrhoid. She's a graduate of the Emory University School of Law. Well, Stacey Young, being an hemorrhoid, should know better. But Stacey Young is an idiot. Stacey Young's quote, again, it's important you process Stacey Young's quote. It's not an arm. This is the White House. This is the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. It's not an arm of the White House. It doesn't exist to enact the president's own agenda. That's a perversion of the separation of powers and the role of an independent Justice Department. Stacey Young, riddle me this, hemorrhoid. Riddle me this. In which branch of the three branches of government does the Department of Justice exist? Which branch, Stacey Young? Which branch? Because there are only three branches. There is the Congress, there's the presidency, and there are the federal courts. You know, the founders considered putting an attorney general's position appointed by the Supreme Court and making it part of the Article 3. But they didn't. Instead, they made it part of Article 2. What is Article 2? What is Article 2, hemorrhoids? Come on. You had con law at Emory. You should know this. Let me repeat for you the very first sentence of Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States of America. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. Shall be vested in a president. Article 1, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States. Article 3, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. Where, Stacey Young, is the Department of Justice? According to the laws of the United States of America, it is in Article 2. And Article 2 begins with a very simple sentence. The executive power shall be vested in a president. There is no independent Department of Justice. It is part of the executive branch. Therefore, the president is in charge. Therefore, the Department of Justice enacts the will of the President of the United States. Stacey Young, you hemorrhoids should be embarrassed and ashamed that one of your own went to National Public Radio and said that the Justice Department is an independent body and this violates the separation of powers. There is no violation of the separation of powers when the Department of Justice is in Article 2, which is the President of the United States, you idiots. This is Constitutional Law 101. The idea that you think there's a separation of powers issue makes you an idiot. The idea that you think the Department of Justice is independent of the presidency makes you compoundly an idiot. If you think there's a separation of powers issue, you're an idiot. You are certifiably an idiot. And this is a rude awakening for the left. Many of them are idiots, and they don't realize it. It's time for them to learn. The president can do this, and Stacey Young and the Democrats can't stop the president from doing this. Why? Because he is the executive power. The Constitution literally says so. You people need to grow up and get with reality instead of the fan fiction sold to you by con law professors who should know better. Now, let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, because you can get 3 of them, save $200, get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com with the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. Now, what is it? Well, it's an air purifier, so it gets rid of dust, it gets rid of pollen, it gets rid of pet dander, it gets rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. Wipes them out, it generates plasma as the air flows through, the bacteria and viruses touch the plasma, and boom, they're dead. It also generates ozone that touches the ions of odor out there and eliminates odors. No odor can stand up to it. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. You put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com, and you wipe out odors. You get 3 of them, upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. You can hold them in your hand. They're highly portable. You can plug it up with a USB cord in a car. I have done so. You can plug it up and power it off your laptop. I have done so. You can plug it into the wall. I have done so. It has a plug that pops out, or you use the USB cord, and it just works. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New trouble in DeKalb County. It looks like at least a left lane knocked out. 285 northbound, the outer loop, Highway 29. Lawrenceville Highway exit 38, already slow back toward Church Street and Clarkston. Downtown, seeing some brake lights fill in. Southbound, 7585 from 17th Street, making your way past North Avenue. Again, just afternoon volume there. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Get ready for another Powerball jackpot tomorrow. Powerball players can win millions playing in store or online at GALottery.com. Only from the Georgia Lottery. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
Oh my God.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
It's the Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
Skip the hassle of constant cleaning and sell your home stress-free with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Hi, this is Mark Spain. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can sell your home stress-free, make the most money, and move on your timeline. One of our clients, Tyra, said, thanks to Mark Spain Real Estate, our home had several cash offers within 24 hours of it being on the market, and we closed in less than a month. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be and close in as little as 21 days. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com. And start packing.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. Spring cleaning is here. Let Artisan Custom Closets help you maximize your space and get organized. Artisan will work with you to design an affordable luxury custom closet where you'll be able to see all your accessories, clothes, and shoes without rummaging through the clutter. Don't use the pricey West Coast closet company that doesn't customize or the cheap closet companies with pushy salespeople and pricing games. Artisan Custom Closets, affordable luxury. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of five-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of five-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Well, have a mic drop moment for Marco Rubio, who is testifying before the United States Senate in this exchange with Senator Chris Van Hollen.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know.
Well, that's
of
just
your
a
record and
flippant
what
statement,
you
Mr.
stand for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I
didn't ask.
Senator,
please let the Secretary
have
I'd be happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well-
Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation.
I raised
don't regret
Sudan,
psychosocial support services.
I
with
raised
USAID.
Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I
not
respond, Mr.
Mozambique.
Chairman, or do I?
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes of
I chose
railing
to
on-
use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use my
suspend,
time that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear in the days to come. You're going to see who you went to defend.
And it goes on from there. I got to tell you about Omaha Steaks because Memorial Day is coming up, and you want to load up your freezer with great stuff from Omaha Steaks and get ready for Memorial Day. Everything at the site is 50% off, site-wide 50% off, and then on top of that, you get an extra $35 off with discount code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout. Minimum order required. You can get the Argentinian red tail shrimp, which I love. You can get the New York strips, the bacon wrap fillets, the chicken breast, the pork chops, the burgers. Get the smash burgers, the regular burgers, the filet mignon burgers. They got so many burgers to choose from. They've got great ready-made desserts. You can get all of your fixins for Memorial Day from omahasteaks.com. At checkout, you'll see a promo code box. You put in my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. You will save $35 more, and the whole site is 50% off right now in time for Memorial Day. omahasteaks.com. Y'all, if you listen regularly, it's Eric, by the way. I have been traveling every week for the last 6 weeks, and I find at the end of the week, all I want to do is sit in my hot tub. And sometimes it's raining too hard. I can't, and I get resentful of Mother Nature, but The Georgia Spa Company got me set up. They can set you up as well. My hot tub is salt water. I don't have to adjust the chemicals constantly. I can travel. 6 weeks, I'm gone, and I come home at the end of the week. I climb in it. Hardly ever do I have to make an adjustment. It's so easy to do as well. They're so hands-on. Georgia Spa Company's having a tent sale right now for Memorial Day. You can save thousands on your own sanctuary in your backyard and do what I do. Get in there, tune out the world, relax. The Georgia Spa Company Memorial Day tent sale happening now. They've got 7 Metro Atlanta locations. You can go to georgiaspacompany.com to find out more. georgiaspacompany.com, 7 Metro Atlanta locations. Take advantage of the Memorial Day tent sale. Get some relaxation and peace of mind with the Georgia Spa Company.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. Memorial Day weekend is going to be very busy at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
We're expecting over 2.6 million passengers to pass through Atlanta between Wednesday, May 21st, and Wednesday, May 28th.
The airport's Assistant General Manager Gus Hudson says the busiest day is expected to be Friday. The TSA's Lillette Law says they expect to screen more than 710,000 travelers.
We're going to ensure that the traveling public is processed safely and efficiently.
TSA says they will have full staff with extra lanes open. It is 88 degrees in Atlanta. Severe weather is a threat late tonight.
Some of the storms overnight may produce damaging wind gusts as well as large hail.
Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear warns residents about the latest storm threat in his state.
There is another risk for tornadoes. Now, the tornado risk is the biggest in the west, but that was the case when we got hit here. So we need everybody to be weather aware. We need everybody to have a place to go tonight. Preferably that has a basement.
The state is still recovering from multiple tornadoes, which have killed over 24 people. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms talks today about why she is running for governor.
When I'm running to fight for the people of Georgia.
Bottoms officially announces her bid for governor today, telling WSB the November election was a turning point for her, calling the Trump administration devastating to the economy. She is the second Democrat in the race, joining State Senator Jason Estevez. COVID shots will no longer get federal approval for healthy younger adults and children.
The FDA saying that it will limit access to COVID-19 vaccines going forward for people 65 years old or older and those who are at high risk of becoming seriously ill if they are infected. The agency also going to require manufacturers to conduct clinical trials to show the efficacy of the vaccines in healthy younger adults and children. A group of vaccine experts that advises the CDC on vaccine recommendations is scheduled to meet in late June. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is giving lawmakers an update on the measles outbreak impacting a number of states, including Georgia.
The best way to prevent the spread of measles is through vaccination.
A fourth measles case is now reported in Georgia this year. Kennedy says the current outbreak nationwide is now at over 1,000 cases, but he says it is slowing. It is 2:02. This news is sponsored by Brett Becker's. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Hey, homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwind.com today to schedule your free consultation.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. In the 24-hour traffic center, it's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Travel advisory in DeKalb with this rollover crash car on its roof. 285 northbound, the outer loop, Highway 29, Lawrenceville Highway, exit 38, only a right lane getting by. Stacked up back to Covington Highway. Head up through downtown as an alternate, but that volume's filling in as well. 75-85 north from University Avenue up past Freedom Parkway. Southbound getting slower as well from the 85-400 merge, trying to make that ride down into Midtown. And things have improved greatly on the south side. All that construction gone. 85 north and southbound around Highway 74, Sonoya Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 89. Thunderstorms arrive after 10 p.m., continuing through early tomorrow morning.
It's 90 in Austell, 86 in College Park, 88 in Duluth. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is bank. B-A-N-K. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is bank. B-A-N-K. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Glad to have you with me across the fruited plain. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. I had something I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going to have to put it off because we got to deal with this other news. The Republicans are continuing to struggle with getting across the finish line the president's tax plan. You have a number of Republicans who do not seem to be willing to vote for the president's tax plan. We are ongoing checking out where things stand, and we're just not sure. SALT caucus members have reached out to the Speaker's office to tell him they are a no on the bill after President Trump's speech to the conference this morning. And therein lies the problem. The president actually probably hurt himself this morning. So the president of the United States went to Congress today to try to push House members to vote for his plan. One of the things the president said was leave Medicaid the F alone. I don't know that the president knew that House Republicans had agreed to add job requirements to Medicaid for people above the poverty line. He didn't want to make any changes. This is a change that was necessary to get conservatives. The other issue, however, is the SALT deduction. The president told House members he did not want to increase the SALT. So the SALT deduction, just so you understand, state and local tax deduction. Under prior tax law before the last Trump tax cut, you could deduct 100% of your state taxes on your federal tax bill. So let's say you owed $40,000. You were a billionaire in New York City, and you owed $40,000 in state taxes. Sounds implausible, but they found a way in New York and California to get that much out of billionaires. So what the billionaires would do is write off 100% of that on their federal income tax. So it would save them a lot of money. And it incentivized states like New York and California raising state taxes to astronomical rates because you never really felt it as a taxpayer because you could deduct 100% of it from your federal taxes. What the Republicans did in 2018 with the Trump tax cut then is they capped it at $10,000. So you could deduct up to $10,000 state taxes. And most people don't pay $10,000 in state income taxes. But really rich billionaires do. And what happened? A lot of the ultra-wealthy moved to Florida. You and I, those of us on the Eastern Seaboard, we encounter these terrible Floridians as they're driving back to New York, driving 45 miles an hour in the left lane on the interstate. And we all wish to kill them. And we are not allowed to because the law protects them. I don't know why they do it. It happened to me yesterday. Someone was doing 65 and a 70. They were in the left lane. They refused to get over. They seem to think it's their lane. It's a passing lane. You're not supposed to drive in that lane. You pass anyway. I never mind. I'm going to stop now. I'm going to spare you my outrage. You go fastest in the left lane. If the speed limit is 70 and you're getting around people, you can go faster than 70, get around them, get back into the right lane. Probably not going to give you a ticket. Do not drive less than the speed limit. And if someone faster than you comes up behind you in the left lane, it is your obligation to get the hell out of the way, not for that person to swerve around you. Get out of the way. The left lane is the passing lane. It's not the driving lane. I'll stop now. But those people go home, and they flew to Florida. They moved to Florida. For some reason, they don't take their private planes back to New York. They drive really slow back to New York. Or worse, they're Canadian. But the Canadians seem to have a better sense of the left lane than people who have a Florida license plate, who are really from New York City. And they fled New York because the SALT deduction went away. Now these blue state Republicans want to ingratiate themselves with the millionaires and billionaires. And they have decided they would rather kill the current tax plan. Because if they kill the current tax plan, the old tax law comes back into effect and it's 100% deduction. And so the blue state Republicans are saying we would rather kill any tax cut for the rest of Americans because the rich people in our states will get a major tax break if we let it all die. Mike Lawler, Republican from New York, wants to run for governor against Kathy Hochul. He can run on killing the president's tax plan and get millionaires and billionaires to donate to him because he will have saved them a lot more money than the current Republican plan, which is to increase the $10,000 SALT deduction to $30,000. And by telling these Republicans they got to stand with him against the Democrats, Trump's actually handing them a campaign slogan, I stood up to Donald Trump and I gave our state a bigger tax cut. Several blue state Republicans say they will not support anything without a higher SALT deduction. Thomas Massie says he won't support the current plan because it actually drives up the national debt. The Main Street Republicans are going to be meeting at 3:30 today about the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. Now, that includes Don Bacon, Dan Crenshaw, and a number of others, and they seem to be supporting the tax plan. In fact, they're pushing a press conference to push back on the lies by the Democrats. So you got them, but you don't have the blue state Republicans who are more liberal, and you don't seem to have the conservatives. Some of the conservatives have come back on board, but Ralph Northam, not sure that he's going to come on board. Not sure that Chip Roy is going to come on board. Thomas Massie is definitely no. Now, everybody always counts out Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie typically doesn't support anything that doesn't cut the debt. This doesn't cut the debt. Therefore, he's not going to. Now, Nancy Mace, you should know, for her part, because she's the most unserious member of Congress, has announced that today she's going to show her naked body. That's right. Nancy Mace, while there's a big tax fight in Washington, D.C., all hands on deck for the tax fight, she's announced today, yes, I'm going there. Today I will show my naked body. That's right, naked body. And she's claiming a predator and rapist Patrick Bryant did this to her. She's saying these things. She's done it on the floor. Now, you should understand Nancy Mace wants to be the governor of South Carolina, and to do that, she's decided to show everybody her boobs and claim that she was a victim. So here, let me show you my naked body. I was a victim. That's what Nancy Mace is doing, because we are super serious in the House of Representatives today. On top of all of this, you got the markets. And, the markets have been doing real well. The Dow, the S&P, and NASDAQ, they're down today, but be dismissive of it given how much so many of it has skyrocketed for some time. However, the bonds, they're going up. The 10-year yield is up to 4.483%. The 30-year Treasury is near 5%. Now, keep in mind when Reagan was president, it was at a 9% yield. But we didn't have a $36 trillion national debt when Reagan was president. That's the problem. There are a lot of bondholders who are getting nervous about our ability to pay off or at least reduce the national debt. And the Republicans don't seem to be actually serious about it. Ray Dalio is warning, and if you aren't familiar with him, he's Trump-friendly. But he's warning that Moody is understating risks to the U.S. Treasury. He says you should know the credit ratings understate credit risks because they only rate the risk of the government not paying its debt. They don't include the greater risk that the countries in debt will print money to pay their debts, thus causing holders of the bonds to suffer losses from the decreased value of the money they're getting. Now, if you don't know who Ray Dalio is, he's a billionaire. He's the founder of Bridgewater Associates, one of the largest funds on planet Earth. He handles a lot of money for a lot of governments and for a lot of wealthy people. And he is raising red flags that our economy is not stable. And it's not. The president went to Congress to try to get something done. He told them, quote unquote, don't F around with Medicaid. He told them he didn't want to increase the SALT deduction anymore. He told SALT caucus members to let it go, in his words. And the House Speaker says he feels comfortable. Now, the reality is, part of this is kabuki theater. Republicans are kind of jockeying for last-minute position. They all want a deal passed. Only the SALT guys don't really want a deal passed, but even they kind of want something passed because they can't make it through a Republican primary if they kill the tax plan. So everybody's jockeying for position, and over in the Senate they say it's dead on arrival anyway. But the president going to Congress today is learning a valuable lesson that the Democrats need to learn. How often do the Democrats say that Donald Trump's an authoritarian, a tyrant, a totalitarian? Donald Trump can't get House Republicans to pass his one big beautiful bill. How can a man be a totalitarian dictator when he can't get Republicans in Congress to pass his legislation? It's not that he can't get Democrats on board, he can't get Republicans on board. And that should give lie to the statement that he's some sort of dictator. He's not. The president is having trouble pulling this off. He's having trouble pulling it off because he's not an all-powerful dictator. He's having trouble pulling it off because there are Republicans willing to stand up to the president. Remember, we're told time and time again, Republicans will not stand up to the president. Yet here we are. We've got the New York and California Republicans saying, we're not going to vote for this plan. You got Thomas Massey of Kentucky saying, I'm not going to vote for this plan. You got House conservatives saying they're not going to vote for this plan. At some point, Magic Mike Johnson's going to need to pull the magic to get them all on board, and I suspect he can. Here's what I suspect is going to happen. I think it's going to be like the Budget Committee. I think the Republican plan is going to fail. And they're going to pull it, and they're going to work on the compromises. They're going to pull it back, put it back on the floor, and it's going to pass. I think the initial vote is not going to pass, but I think it ultimately passes. I think it ultimately passes because I think that Mike Johnson understands the president wants a deal, and I think he understands the needs of Republicans in Congress to get it done. My question, though, is what happens with the bond market when this thing passes? It goes to the Senate, and the Senate refines it. And the Senate is more serious than the House and understands the budget problems and the problems with the bondholders and wants to reassure the bondholders they're serious about the national debt. But they can only do so much. It's not easy. It's easy to say Donald Trump is a dictator. It's easy to say Donald Trump is a totalitarian. But look at reality. He wants this plan passed, and he's struggling to get Republicans to pass it. Why? Because you can't be a dictator when you have a Congress that's willing to defy you. The limits of presidential power are coming into shape on this plan. The president's not a dictator. He's a president. He has to get Congress on board his plan, and he can't. And if he can't get the deal passed. So he's going to have to work on them and make deals with them. It's the nature of Washington, and it shows the Constitution working as designed.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory on 285 northbound, the outer loop between Clarkson and Tucker. A car has flipped over on 285 north, the outer loop at Lawrenceville Highway exit number 38. It's on its roof. Only a right lane getting by, stacked up leaving Covington Highway. You can head up through downtown as an alternate. Also a crash in Sandy Springs, 285 westbound, the outer loop at Roswell Road in the right lane, causing delays from Georgia 400. Traffic brought to you by WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private because your personal messages are yours. No one else's can see or hear them, not even WhatsApp. WhatsApp message privately with everyone. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is bank. B-A-N-K. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is bank. B-A-N-K. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Joel, it's Eric. I know as a homeowner, you start seeing the cracks in the wall or the door start sticking. You wonder what's going on. You could have a foundation problem. Engineered Solutions of Georgia is the only foundation repair company in Georgia with licensed engineers on staff providing the highest quality of work. If you got concerns, reach out to them for a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus, the highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus, siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter here. Have you been recently diagnosed with sleep apnea and then they prescribed a CPAP machine? Come on, you know it's not comfortable. Rolling around in a bed with something on your face, having to hold your breath for 30 to 40 seconds, can't roll over and kiss your loved one in the middle of the night? Yeah, I know, it's bad news. But there is an alternative. Oral appliance therapy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to let you in on this better option, PalmettoSleep.com. It's a better option. They offer a custom-fit oral appliance that stops your snoring and treats sleep apnea, and it's covered by your private medical insurance. PalmettoSleep.com has made the process super simple with virtual appointments and take-home sleep tests if needed. They handle everything. If you've already been diagnosed, now's the time for a treatment that is right for you. Visit PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com. Go there now. That's PalmettoSleep.com and get rid of that CPAP machine.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB. You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am flabbergasted by this news. The former mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, Keisha Crime Wave Bottoms, has decided to run for governor of the state of Georgia. This is from May 7th, 2021 in the New York Times. At a news conference in which she fought to hold back tears, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms of Atlanta said on Friday there was no single reason for her abrupt and dramatic decision not to run for a second term. She did rattle off a list of grinding municipal crises she has faced: a crippling cyber attack, a federal corruption investigation that started under her predecessor, the coronavirus pandemic, social justice protests, and the challenge of governing under former President Donald Trump, whom she referred to a madman in the White House. But the most serious political threat that emerged from Ms. Bottoms in recent months was a phenomenon she described as the COVID crime wave. Like many other American cities, Atlanta is struggling with a spike in violent crime, including a funds at joggers while she was mayor. The police quit while she was mayor. The police quit while she was mayor. And this woman wants to be governor of the state of Georgia. I mean, she could be a good appointed official of a third world hellhole, but not Atlanta, Georgia, or Georgia as a state. She's not competent to serve as governor. She wasn't competent to be mayor. I gave her the benefit of the doubt because she was from outside established political lines, thinking she'd be fresh blood in the mayoral office. She had stood up to the old guard. Well, she stood down to the bullies and the criminals and the rioters. She stood up to the police and chased them off the job and sparked a crime wave. There's no way this woman should be governor of Georgia. It is delusional for her to think she has an avenue to win. Absolutely not. Good gracious. Nope. Nope. Don't waste your time. There are plenty of qualified people who didn't spark a crime wave and that got people killed. Now, we have to move on to Hillsdale College. which is a fantastic institution which would love to have your business, and they're not going to charge you anything. So what business do they want? They want your mind. They want your eyeballs. They want you to find a topic you're interested in and get smarter about it. It's education. It's not indoctrination. What you want to do is you go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. They've been doing this since the 1830s. They find Americans where they are and they educate them. With the advent of the internet, they can find Americans around the world. What they do is they give you access to their best professors through video lectures. They give you a certificate of completion. You pick the topic you're interested in, and you improve your understanding of it, whether it's mathematics or economics or chemistry or literature or biology or history or philosophy or political science. They've got classes in all those topics and more. Check them out at Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Go to ericforhillsdale.com. There is no charge at all.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms officially announces today she is running for governor in 2026. She tells WSB why she's getting into the race.
November was a turning point for me personally, and I really found myself thinking about what I could do and what I was called to do in this moment.
The only other official entries in the governor's race so far are Democrat Jason Estevez and Republican Chris Carr. Strong storms are expected across the southeast tonight, including here in metro Atlanta. Meteorologist Christina Edwards says the storm should arrive after 10 p.m. There is a storm threat in Kentucky, where parts of the state are still recovering from previous tornadoes. The death toll stands at 19 there. There are evacuation orders for neighborhoods with storm damage ahead of the next round of severe weather. Atlanta's airport is getting ready for a busy Memorial Day and summer travel period. 2.6 million passengers are expected to travel through Hartsfield-Jackson tomorrow through Wednesday, May 28th. The airport's Assistant General Manager Gus Hudson says give yourself plenty of time.
So we strongly recommend arrive 2.5 to 3 hours early for domestic flights and arrive 3 hours early for international travel.
The busiest day is expected to be this Friday. An Atlanta man is facing federal charges after he's accused of stealing $3 million in a fraud case. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Atlanta accuses 37-year-old Ian Patrick Jackson of ripping off the federal government by taking money intended for Americans struggling during the pandemic. Jackson allegedly was working with another Atlanta man to submit fraudulent Paycheck Protection Program loan applications using phony tax documents. It is 2:32. This news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark retire-ready bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income-producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 888-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Got some better news for you in DeKalb County. The crash just cleared 285 northbound, the outer loop, Highway 29, Lawrenceville Highway, still stacked up from Covington Highway, but those delays will start to improve. Looks like that right lane crash, 285 westbound at the outer loop at Roswell Road and Sandy Springs is starting to clear, but that volume for the afternoon will start to fill in out of Dunwoody into Sandy Springs as you head over to I-75 in Cobb. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 89. Thunderstorms arrive after 10 p.m., continuing through early tomorrow morning.
86 in Johns Creek. It's 90 in Mableton and 89 in Stockbridge. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Before I move on to anything else, let's jump to Glenn's phone call here. Welcome to the show, Glenn. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great.
Good. I was just wondering, Keisha Crime Wave Bottom, is she pulling a Beto? It seems like the Democrats, when they run, if they lose, they still make a lot of money. Is she running to keep relevant and to, if she doesn't win, she's going to make a lot of money? Is that possible?
I would not surprise me at all that, this is to cash in more than anything. I do not see a plausible path for her, the former mayor of Atlanta who sparked a crime wave with a 54% increase in homicides on her watch, to actually get elected governor. But, she can cash in, keep her name relevant. Maybe some future Democrat can help her out. The level of arrogance you got to have to think that your record entitles you to run for governor of Georgia is mind-boggling to me, but there you have it. Now, we got to talk about the Democrats here for a moment. One of the things that you learn about Democrats over time is that they never acknowledge they're wrong. It's always the message. If only they will fix the message. The issues are right. Reminds me, after the November election, Jonathan Martin of Politico actually wrote a piece that where the Democrats considered maybe they're just too correct. This is from Teddy Schleifer at the New York Times. 6 months after the Democratic Party's crushing 2024 defeat, the party's mega donors are being inundated with overtures to spend tens of millions of dollars to develop an army of left-leaning online influencers. Just stop there. The grifters on the left, they're going to bleed them dry, just like what happens on the right. At donor retreats and in pitch documents seen by the New York Times, liberal strategists are pushing the party's rich backers to reopen their wallets for a cavalcade of projects to help Democrats, as the cliche now goes, find the next Joe Rogan. The proposals, the scope of which has not been previously reported, are meant to energize glum donors and persuade them they can compete culturally with President Trump if only they can throw enough money at the problem. Democrats widely believe they must grow more creative in stoking online enthusiasm for their candidates, particularly in less outwardly political forms of media like sports or lifestyle podcasts. Many now take it as gospel that Mr. Trump's victory last year came in part because he cultivated an ecosystem of supporters on YouTube, TikTok, and podcasts, in addition to the many Trump-friendly hosts on Fox News. The quiet effort amounts to an audacious, skeptics might say desperate bet that Democrats can buy more cultural relevance online, despite the fact that casually right-leaning touchstones like Mr. Rogan's podcast were not built by political donors and did not rise overnight. Wealthy donors tend to move in packs, and some jaded liberals worry that the excitement could cause money to flow into projects that are not fully fleshed out. They argue that the latest pitches on the left are coming from operatives who are hungry to meet donors' demands for a shiny new object. In a break from the past, some of the Democrats' new ventures are for-profit companies. Y'all, don't get mad at me for giving advice to these rich Democrats. But you rich Democrats are about to be played. You are about to be ball gagged and put into a basement waiting for the gimp grifters of the Democratic Party to take advantage of you. Joe Rogan is not on the right. Kamala Harris just didn't go on his podcast. He invited her, but she didn't want to go on the podcast. Democrats can go on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's a Bernie Sanders guy. Joe Rogan, does he like conspiracy theorists and unconventional thinkers? Yeah, you've got plenty of them, but y'all don't bother to even attempt to go on. You don't go on the Theo Von podcast because you can't laugh at yourselves. You lack a sense of humor. It has nothing to do with needing to find left-wing influencers and podcasters. The fact is you've got a bunch of people who see billionaires with a lot of money who are stupid, who think they're smart, and you guys are the ones you're about to be taken advantage of by the grifters on the left. I mean, we got massive problems with grifters on the right. There's a story in the Washington Examiner. Let me just read you this story as an example. After President Trump's victory in the 2024 election, foreign agents working on behalf of the Qatari government have shifted their focus to right-wing media, fueling speculation that the terror-linked Gulf state is attempting to win influence among conservatives. Between January 1, 2024, and Election Day, just over 10% of communications sent by Qatari foreign agents to the media were directed to conservative outlets or commenters, according to a Washington Examiner review of Department of Justice records. Since Republicans won control of the White House and Congress on Election Day, the proportion of messages sent by Qatari operatives to conservative outlets and commentators has surged to more than half of their total correspondence. Qatar paid top dollar to ensure its interview with Tucker Carlson and Qatari Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani happened. Foreign Agent Registration Act records show that Lumen 8 Advisors LLC, a legal consulting company for which there's very little public information available, helped facilitate between Carlson and the Qatari dignitary. Qatar is throwing money at all sorts of social media influencers on the right, a lot of them grifters who are going to take advantage of it. And people on the right have been bought in. You rich people on the left, you are about to get taken advantage of. You don't need left-wing cultural influence. You've got them. TikTok is dominated by the left. Contrary to some of the spin out there, TikTok is dominated by the left. Instead of pouring your money into a fat little Harry Sisson, just go on Joe Rogan's podcast. It's not that hard. Go on his podcast. Put Gavin Newsom on the podcast. He's not going to ask you a super combative interview. He's going to have a cordial conversation with you. The idea that you need new left-wing media, remember, for a very long time, one of the ideas on the left was that they needed a left-wing version of Rush Limbaugh. And they had Air America, which is going to combat conservative talk radio. You know what happened? It went broke. It was a horrible investment. Why? Because the secret was Rush Limbaugh and conservative talk radio is actually entertaining. It's not angry hand-wringing and doomsaying about the end of the world, which is what you got from the left. It's actually engaging. You may not like it. It may not be your cup of tea, but it was pretty funny for a whole lot of people. Rush was fantastic at what he did. And we need our Rush Limbaugh. And now we need our Joe Rogan. You've got Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is literally a Bernie Sanders supporter. Joe Rogan went with Donald Trump and people on the right because you guys abandoned him. And he's still fairly socialistic in his outlook. And kind of cranky conspiracy theory, too. You could totally go on his show. But the grifters on the left want you to believe that you can't because they want your money. The idea that you need some sort of new network to help you advance is just kind of wild. The first out of the gate has been Chorus, a well-publicized liberal nonprofit group co-founded by the Democratic influencer Brian Tyler Cohen. But others have stayed under wraps until now. In November, Ms. McBride and other liberal operatives gathered in Washington for a series of meetings to survey the electoral wreckage. At the headquarters of American Bridge, one of the largest Democratic donor networks, they eventually hatched a plan for a for-profit company called And Media, which stands for Achieve Narrative Dominance. The company, incorporated in March, says it aims to raise $45 million over the next 4 years. The group hopes to have a $70 million budget over the time frame based on predictions of $25 million in revenue. It says it has raised $7 million so far. Ms. McBride and Christian Tom, who led digital strategy for the Biden White House, have pitched the company to American Bridge donors as a broad cultural project. Hoping to move away from current didactic hall monitor style of Democratic politics has turned off young audience, and media will focus on directly funding influencers and co-producing their content, opening a creator talent agency, and starting by inking deals with 4 flagship creators. Right. You have MSNBC. You have CBS News. You have most of CNN. You have a lot of TikTok. You've got massive amounts of cultural influence out there. Somehow you need to pour $70 million into something new and shiny. Why don't you work with what you have? You people are idiots. Here's the problem. It's not the message. It's not the cool kids thing. It's none of that. It's that you people decided that boys need tampons in their locker rooms. It's that you people decided boys can become girls and boys can have periods. It's that you people decided that women should be called birthing person. It's that you people decided to rewrite the English language in unnatural ways and then embrace the talking points and Latinx, which rhymes with Kleenex, that no person in the Hispanic community actually says. And somehow you think that you've lost the cultural narrative. You didn't lose the cultural narrative. You lost yourselves in madness. You know what? Now, you Republicans, don't get mad at me for pulling back the curtain and giving Democrats honest advice. Don't get mad at me. I'm about to tell them what they need to do to establish their cultural dominance and win elections. Don't hate me don't send me emails. You'd be amazed at the number of emails I get from, why are you giving Democrats advice? Do you really want them to win? No. I just know they're not going to take my advice, so I can say, see, I told you so later. I'm going to give them advice. I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to give the difference. As someone who is very successful at running campaigns across the country, congressional, state, and local races, got myself elected to office, I know what the Democrats must do to win. Do you want to know, Democrats? That one easy thing you must do to win. You don't need social media influencers. You don't need flagship creators. All you need is to not be crazy. That's it. Stop being crazy. Stop thinking that boys can become girls. Stop referring to moms as birthing persons. Stop referring to breastfeeding as chest feeding. Stop embracing economic madness. Stop lying to the public and covering up Joe Biden. Stop being crazy, and you might be able to win. You may hate Donald Trump, but Donald Trump actually understands the values and views of the common man, and he's not crazy. You may not like him, but he's not insane. You Democrats out there with your chest feeding and your unhousedness and your birthing person and your boys can get periods and the Tim Walz code speak. No normal human being talks and uses the phrase code speak. I can code speak to the right. I hear a bunch of liberals talk like this. No normal person in America talks like that. You've got the language of the faculty lounge. Give up the language of the faculty lounge. They're all a bunch of malcontented, crazy people anyway and have tenure, which is why they can fester their craziness. Just be normal human beings and you might be competitive, but you people can't be normal. When you sit in a room with Alex Soros and these other people, and you do your land designations that this land was once the land of the Oompa Loompa tribe, and we're so sorry, but we're not giving it back. Normal people don't do that. When you put your pronouns in your bios, normal people don't do that. When you make up random pronouns like Z, Zer, and Zenu, well, that's Scientology, but normal people aren't Scientologists either. You can't bring yourselves to be normal, and you can't police the insanity within. In fact, you've given over to the insanity, and you've allowed those malcontented. And this is why you can't win, because you allow someone to come on one of these podcasts, and they tell a joke that you find offensive because it's not about white Christian men, but about some other group. You're going to be outraged while everyone else laughs. You can't laugh at yourselves, therefore you can't be sane. Therefore, you can't win. This isn't really hard, Democrats. You just have to stop being crazy, and you can't do that. You don't need a Joe Rogan competitor. You can go on Joe Rogan, but you'll be exposed for being a nutter who can't laugh at yourself. That's not funny. Actually, it's very funny, just not to you. And that's the problem. Y'all, Swiss America has been warning people not about the madness out there, but about the secret war on cash. For some time, they've been warning you the government is plotting, quite successfully actually, to get you to stop using cash, putting restrictions on it, allowing people to tell you you can't use cash at private businesses. It's crazy. Banks are going under. You got all sorts of economic turmoil out there. Gold prices are sky high right now. And Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They want to educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save your retirement and finances. You get a copy completely for free. All you have to do is call or text 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash does include cryptocurrency. Digital currencies are under attack by the government. They're monitoring your purchases. So go read The Secret War on Cash completely free. All you got to do is mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Call and get the report completely free. Just mention Eric. Text my name or call and say Eric Erickson sent me. If you text Eric to 800-289-2646, you'll get sent a link back. Easy to click the link, get the report completely free. Let Swiss America help you. One more time, 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
251 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. We're in recovery mode now. 285 northbound, the outer loop between Clarkston and Tucker with that rollover crash cleared at Highway 29, Lawrenceville Highway. Stacked up through downtown, southbound from the 85-400 merge down toward William Street. We're going to check on trouble there. Northbound slows University Avenue up into Midtown. Traffic brought to you by Purple Mattresses. Purple Mattresses and pillows are up to 75% off for a limited time. Stop by their showroom at the outlet shops at Atlanta this weekend for amazing deals. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Where you get your news is where you win.
Download the WSB app and get ready for the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Amazing.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Are you serious?
Your next chance to win is coming up at 5 p.m.
Just enter the word at WSBRadio.com or on the WSB Radio app.
Oh, no.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
on 95.5 WSB.
Y'all, it's Eric, and I got to tell you, I was a little intimidated when I got a hot tub because, chemicals and all that, but with Georgia Spa Company, they got me set up with a saltwater hot tub. I sit in this thing 2 hours at night watching movies. It's so relaxing. You don't smell like chlorine. You're not itchy. It's relaxing. You don't even have to turn the hot water super hot. For this time of year, you're cool, you're comfortable, you're warm if you want to be, you're hot if you want to be, you can sweat if you want to be, but you're relaxed every single time. These last 6 weeks, I have traveled nonstop every week. The end of the week, I put the kids in bed, I climb into my hot tub, I fire up a TV show I want to catch up on. The Memorial Day tent sale is happening right now. GeorgiaSpaCompany.com. You can save thousands on your own spa from the Georgia Spa Company. GeorgiaSpaCompany.com. 7 Metro Atlanta locations. Take advantage of the Memorial Day tent sale right now. No hassle, relaxation in your backyard. Brought to you by GeorgiaSpaCompany.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. And
social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, it's too late. You can't call in, and I got to play you this audio. It is way too funny. This just happened. The President of the United States on Capitol Hill talking to a reporter for a new news site called Notus, N-O-T-U-S.
Andy Harris said that you didn't adequately convince enough people to vote for the bill. The House Freedom Caucus.
You mean after this speech?
After this speech, that's what you
I
said.
think so. Well, why don't we see at the voters? I think it was a great talk. It wasn't a speech. We talked about things. Who do you work for?
Notice.
Who?
Notice.
I don't even know what the hell that is. Get yourself a real job.
I don't even know what the hell that is. Get yourself a real job. Notice is a new outlet in Washington, notus.org. And it is a new site covering Capitol Hill. There are several of them out there. The Hill, Roll Call, and now Notice. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what that is. Well done. Well played. Listen, here's my prediction. Is it's going to look really ugly. It's going to look really messy. They're probably going to pull the bill several times from the House floor. But ultimately, I think they're going to get the votes for something because they need them. They just got to get it to the Senate. That's all they got to do. And what they're probably going to do is convince Republicans that it doesn't matter. The Senate is going to kill the legislation, and that will get them on board. So stay tuned to see how this plays out. It's just going to be very interesting. By the way, there is a little bit of breaking news out there. Jared Golden is the moderate Democrat from Maine. He was mentioned as a candidate for the Maine gubernatorial seat, and he is announcing he's going to run for re-election, which actually probably saves the Democrats a House seat. That seat, he can hold it, but otherwise it'd be a Republican-leaning seat, but he's pretty popular up there. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see what the SALT deduction is. My guess is the Republican leaders up the SALT deduction to placate the blue state Republicans. Donald Trump will go along with it to get the bill passed. They will keep the Medicaid reforms in there. They're not cuts. They're just reforms. You got to get a job if you want the benefits if you're above the poverty line. And then we'll see the Senate come up with whatever the Senate wants to come up with. and they won't wait for the House guidance. So more on that tomorrow. I'm Eric Erickson. I'll talk to you guys then.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
When you're booking travel, we've gotten used to airline tickets being non-refundable. Pretty much any fare, even a first-class ticket today, you'll buy it and it'll be a non-refundable fare. But it does mean you can take the value of that ticket, unless you buy basic economy, and use it towards future travel. How about hotels? Doesn't work that way. Hotels are pushing big time non-refundable room bookings. Don't do it. There's no upside, only downside. The difference in what they charge you per night is so teensy tiny between non-refundable and a booking you can cancel. Always go with the booking you can cancel. And by the way, you always want to reshop your hotel rates about a week before you go. Often they've dropped a lot from when you originally booked. I'm Clark Howard.